Welcome in, everybody! Hope you're all doing fantastic and have been crushing it since the last time we talked. Well, in this episode 22 of the It's the Quick Nasty podcast, and I'm glad you guys keep tuning back in week over week. You rock! We're now out of February and into March, one step closer to no snow and seeing the sun again. Northeast Ohio likes to keep it pretty damn gloomy for its winter and spring and fall and sometimes summer months as well. Seasonal depression ain't no joke around these parts. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that today. Instead, I want to get into talking about something I've been trying to do a little bit more lately in my life and in my creative endeavors as well. That thing is batching, and not the she is such a batch kind of batches. The batch I'm talking about is a little more like a batch of cookies. So, say we're making cookies. How many do you make at a time? You're likely not going to just make one, right? The time and energy cost to make one cookie is about the same as making an entire batch. You already got the ingredients out, you have the mixing bowls and the measuring spoons, so you're going to have to clean all the same amount of dishes, which no one wants to do regardless. So unless you're actually just making one massive cookie, or a cookie cake, I guess, it would best suit us to make an entire batch at once, as it provides the greatest return on our time that we have invested. And obviously this translates to more than just baking cookies, because this podcast ain't about whipping up them fresh chocolate chips, you know what I'm saying? What do you guys prefer, crispy or chewy? Really, I'm team chewy. Let me know on Twitter or Instagram at It's the Quick Nasty. Anyways, I'm off topic. And now I'm craving cookies. Yeah! My bad, guys. So batching is something that I want to try to incorporate into my daily life and my creative tasks as much as I can, including the creation of this podcast. Making this podcast was a week-by-week process. Each week would go something like this. Monday and Tuesday, on the way to work, I would record audio notes for a topic that I would like to speak on. Wednesday, convert audio notes into written a written outline. Then Thursday, use that outline to make a script. Friday, record that podcast. Saturday, edit and finalize the podcast. Sunday, upload and schedule the podcast and create the art that goes with it. That's a 7-day turnaround every single week. It's crazy and probably a little bit inefficient, if I do say so myself. Now, if I can batch some of those processes and steps together, then hopefully I can achieve a higher level of efficiency and be able to get more done in less time and reduce the stress of making the content on such a rigid schedule. If I can design it so that maybe every couple of weeks we can have maybe an ideas and notes kind of week where I can get 3 to 5 episodes worth of notes taken, and then maybe the following week would be getting those 3 to 5 episodes scripted. I don't know. I'm getting much quicker at actually recording the podcast, but that is also the step where the podcast gets bottlenecked. I can record the beginning of the podcast, which is this part that you're listening to right now, but the LWR and The Plan for next week has to be recorded on a week-to-week basis, depending on what happened during that week. I mean, I could potentially record 3 to 5 episodes worth of podcast, then just record the LWR and The Plan on a weekly basis, as it only takes maybe 5 minutes, but we'll see, I don't know. For now though, I'm going to focus on the idea generation, note-taking, and scripting, because those things take me the most time day in and day out. I could also set aside time in maybe one sitting every other month to make enough arts for like 9 or 10 episodes. As they're just a number change, and I already have some templates kind of created, so it's not too difficult. And having them done, like by the time I get to Saturday or Sundays where I'm uploading everything, is pretty nice. So maybe my new batching week looks something more like Monday through Wednesday, record 3 to 5 ideas worth of audio notes to and from work. Thursday and Friday, take notes on those 3 to 5 ideas. Saturday and Sunday, script those 3 to 5 ideas. The following week would then be recording those 3 to 5 ideas and have everything ready for recording the last week's review and the plan each week. The recording of the podcast is always on Friday and Saturday, so I will have to get ahead of schedule for one episode so that the week of batching will already have a episode scripted, basically. Speaking of getting ahead by 1 week, this episode was scripted before episode 21 was even released. I'm so evil. Anyways, so this means last week I started my batching process, and I'll tell you more about that in the LWR this week. I essentially would like to become more efficient and productive for this particular piece of content, eventually being able to get the majority of maybe 2 months worth of content created in 2, maybe 3 weeks, thus giving me more time to reinvest in myself. That's really what we're looking for, right? Having more time to spend doing what we want to do. Of course, I highly recommend investing in yourselves, using this extra time to get to the gym, read more, learn more, create more stuff, and so on. But it could be for whatever you want. So could we implement this level of batching into our everyday lives, thus allowing us more time for ourselves and reducing stress? I am pretty sure we already do some of that to an extent, but if we want to take it to the next level, then we will need to be a little more efficient with our scheduling and planning. I personally love efficiency, and I know sometimes it drives people nuts, including my wife. I like to set up the dominoes and just knock them down. Say it's Saturday, right? The tasks for today are grocery shopping, cleaning the house, going to the gym, and maybe some meal prep in there somewhere. If it were completely up to me, my schedule would be something like getting up at 6 a.m., get the meal prep started, clean the house while the food bakes, get to the store when it opens at 9 a.m., head to the gym right after that, and then be done by probably 11 a.m. I know people that wake up at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. I hate wasting my only days off of work, but that's just me. So get that shit done as efficient as possible, and then have the rest of the day or the weekend to do whatever you want. Whether that's relaxing or going to a movie or working on things for the business. But the point is, I have now created the time and cannot use the I don't have time excuse. Like I said, most of us don't have time due to poor planning and task execution. So if there's one thing I would say to try to improve on today, would be getting better at making those lists and crushing those tasks. To make those tasks easier, incorporate batching. I mean, there are probably things you already batch without even realizing it, right? Technically, taking the red box movie back when you go to the grocery store is batching. Maybe you're going to pick up a pizza and you need to get gas today. Leave 5 minutes early to get the pizza, stop by the gas station on the way. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Making the separate trip is what actually wastes the time. Alright, so here's my scheduling process. Going to seem pretty obvious, but again, people apparently don't like doing things that are obvious. People like procrastinating, that's what they like. Anywho, start with the tasks that cannot change. You have a birthday party to attend to 2 p.m. on Sunday, or the grocery store doesn't open until 9 a.m. Plug those times into the schedule first, and then plan the other tasks needing done around those times. If there is an important task that you want to be sure is done that day, doing it first can help, but as far as scheduling out the day, it's as simple as that. However, keeping yourself on task can be the tough part, but keep making those lists and practicing completing them and finding ways to incorporate batching where you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Oh, it's so barbaric! Seriously, when's the last time you saw someone just chucking rocks at birds, let alone having success with killing 2 of them with 1 rock? Hey Bill, what you doing over there? Oh, I'm just trying to knock these 2 birds out of the tree with this pebble. Alright, Bill. Well, good luck, buddy. Be sure to see a doctor. Eventually, your weekly tasks can become routine, and if it's an efficient routine, you'll be consistently gaining extra time for yourself. This means more time doing what you want to do instead of having your life controlled by your chores. So I hope you guys get inspired and try some of this in your daily lives or with content creation or maybe writing a book or whatever it is that you're working on. If you guys find something that really works well, you know, as far as tasks and batching goes, let me know. let me know what it is. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at It's Like Nasty. I'd love to hear about it. But for now, we're going to see how the batching went this week as we send it over to the LWR. So last week we managed to get this show scripted before the episode 21 even dropped. So this is 22. It was done before 21 came out on Monday. So there. So I got myself ahead by 1 week. Now what I'm trying to do is get 1 or 1.5-ish done every week so that eventually I'll kind of build up some. But I did record like 5 or 6 episodes worth of notes that I've taken, and I've already transferred those notes to another episode. So it's kind of weird because I've got a bunch of this stuff just floating around in there, and then now my phone kind of gets backed up because it takes so long. Like it's easy to transfer the audio notes or create the audio notes. Obviously, I'm just in my car while it's recording, driving to work. But then transferring those audio notes to physical notes that I can actually create an outline from, because basically when I'm talking in the car, I'm just rambling. I got one idea, then I'm jumping to another idea, then I jump to another idea. I got to take all those ideas and kind of really compress them into something, noteworthy, and then that I can put into an outline basically. So, but I did get 3 or 4, 5 episodes. I said 6, so yeah, it's 5 or 6. It's 5 or 6 episodes worth of notes. But now I need to sit down, schedule some time, and actually go through each one of those audio recordings and then convert them into notes. So, like I did, I chunked all those things in 1 week, and then maybe next week, since I've already got next week's podcast scripted out, baby. Yeah. Anyways. But next week, then I can probably batch all of those 5 to 6 episodes of notes, and then the following week maybe record all those things. I don't know. So that's what I did for batching. Anyways, and then I also got the next 10 episodes of artwork done in one sitting as well. So that's all that stuff's easy and out of the way now. So I only have to really concern myself with scheduling the time to get some of that batching stuff done. But outside of the batching, I did get some artwork done for Ronald Joseph Design. So I got the banners done and logo finished for my Twitter and Facebook. So I was working on the logo for a while. I didn't really like the last one that I had. It looked okay. But again, like we've talked about before, I don't rush things out, but I don't worry about it being perfect. Like, I could tweak it later, if it looks good or even great, I'm gonna find a flaw with it eventually. So I found the flaw. There was some points and stuff that didn't line up if I was drawing some guidelines through it. Some of the thicknesses were a little weird. Some of the curves were a little weird. So it drove me nuts. Anyways, so I went back, a few months later, actually almost a year later from when I initially made that logo, and redid everything. Basically, it's the same general feel, but the curves and everything are exactly the same. The sizes and thicknesses of the shapes are closer, or are identical actually, so that there's a more cohesive feel to the logo itself. So the logo's done, the banner's done for Facebook and Twitter, so make sure you follow up those pages, Ronald Joseph's Design. Also on Instagram, haven't posted anything yet there. But I did also work on the highlight images for Instagram as well. So when I do stories and stuff on there, I'll have a cool little highlight image to place, the little bubbles that you click on. They get pretty fancy. I'm not one of them that just puts like a little word or something in there. It's got to look fancy, okay? Leave me alone. It's a design business, right? So I got those done. What was cool is I actually got up on, I think it was a Sunday. It was Sunday morning at like 6 a.m. Like, I've been setting my alarm earlier and earlier on the weekends because I want to keep a more consistent schedule, and I am super productive in the morning. That's just me. Anyways, actually I think it's a lot of people, but most people won't admit it. So I managed to put those highlight things together in 1 hour. I like the way they look a lot. Like, they go with the logo very well. So you'll see them soon when I post them. But yeah, that was pretty much everything we got done last week. I'd say it was pretty productive. I got a lot of stuff done that I had planned on getting done. Didn't miss the mark on a lot of stuff outside of my drawing, but I did draw a little bit too. But it's like I'm just cramming all this stuff in there. But again, I'm trying to make this time with batching or being more efficient and getting this stuff so that I free up more time to do other things. So it's all about freeing up more time so that I can spend more time improving myself. All right, guys, be sure to try some of this batching this week. If you find something that really works for you, let me know what it is at It's Like Nasty on Instagram and Twitter or Facebook. Hit me up. Let me know what works for you. If you found something that really saves you some time, let me know what it is. I'm truly interested. All right, but until next time, guys, have a fantastic week, and I will catch you next Monday.